Yeah, so thanks for having me. I'm Dan. I finished university last summer, or summer 2021, electrical electronic engineering at Warwick. Moved into the rail industry as my first time role straight away. And yeah, here to talk about the scheme so far. So the purpose of this, those of you who have a graduate, it might be interesting to see how it differs in Wales and Western. Those of you who may be interested in taking on a graduate, get to show you about what the scheme's like. Some of you maybe had a bad experience with a graduate and don't like graduates, so hopefully I can change your mind on that. And for everyone else, it's a 15-minute break from track renewals talk, so hopefully I cover everyone's interest. This is a brief summary of the scheme I'm doing. The good thing about it, it's really flexible. In Wales and Western, you kind of decide your own placements and what you're doing, what you get involved with. So I did 3.5 months of business familiarisation. So I'm going to go into more detail on the individual parts of that. But that's basically a breakdown of the plan as of writing this presentation, but it's slightly changed since then. So I'll go into each individual one. So business familiarisation, so we do weekly placements for the first 3 months, going around different departments, asset management, maintenance, NRDD and projects across all range of disciplines, signalling, E&P, track and structures. And yeah, probably the best part of it is just loads and loads of site visits, which are great for getting us to become familiar with what we've got and what we're working with. So night shifts there, visual inspections for civil structures, Barmouth Viaduct, getting to do a volunteer day at the Chino Heritage Railway. Driving a train right there. Severn Tunnel, and also Hereford, rock armour that was being put in. Signalling, so I did a month of signalling, so after last Christmas I wasn't sure whether to go into signalling or E&P, because as an electrical graduate that's kind of the main two choices you get. So I did a month of signalling and then a month of E&P, and then decided to go down E&P. Again, this is really flexible, so I decided to do this. So key highlights from that signalling month, the Welsh Route Operations Centre and the Machynlleth Signalling Control Centre, good interesting visits down there. And also in Machynlleth there was some upgrades for the Radio Block Centre, so I was organising some documents for the technical file in case we got audited by the ORR, so that was quite interesting and hands-on that early on. Electrification RAM, so I did a month with them and then stayed on for another 5-6 months afterwards. So some of the key things got involved with strain gauge monitoring, R&D project. So there was a kind of what the team kind of wanted to have more of a better monitoring of the tensioning equipment. So doing some initial designs on that at the start of the project for actually like having a piece of equipment on the insulated side which can measure vibrations. So rather than having to, especially in hot weather conditions where maybe places where tensioning weights are used, rather than going on site and realizing that the tension's dropped because they've reached the bottom, being able to see it straight in the office. So that's kind of an ongoing thing. If I get time in my other placements on the side, I might pick it back up, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. Bit of height and stagger, data critiquing, did some proofreading of an overhead conductor system condition report. Again, all this stuff really useful for getting myself involved in the team and finding out about what's going on. A bit of familiarisation with the 25,000 standard, so as just was discussed then, the 1.6 metre vicinity zone, that was one of the things I was learning a bit about and some of the changes that are going to be coming into place. Looking through some documents, gathering conductor system specs, being involved with some talks for potential redesign with some designers. And the bottom picture, a visit to the Dr. Day's substation, which is in Bristol. That was quite a good opportunity to go out on site there. And on the side of that, a graduate awards project where they were pushing for, the region was overall pushing for more of Network Rail's key projects to be getting more recognition that they deserve. So as graduates were getting involved in with different teams that were delivering projects and collecting together documentation and then presenting those to like the National Rail Awards or the Rail Innovation Awards, and a few of them actually won, so yeah, overall it was quite a success. Right now, I'm currently in maintenance. Did a bit of work on MATLAB, which for those who don't know is a really useful engineering programming software and calculator. A lot of engineering students use it in uni, so it's quite good that that I was able to actually get it. So for a lot of OLE defects, I was basically using that to try and combine data sets from different Excel spreadsheets. Since one of the project managers went away for a few months, I took on some of his financial work, so keeping monthly financial tracking of some CapEx snagging that was done. That is in the process of being done, so essentially when the GWEP was finished and handed over for projects, a lot of defects that were left for maintenance to sort out. And so whenever we do those, we then charge back to projects, and I've been keeping track of all those. But at the same time, been doing a bit of on-site work and seeing some of those snags being done, and also going out. So those pictures there, that's just at the tunnel, Newport Station. It's really convenient because the depot's in Newport, and I live in Newport as well, so it's a 20-minute walk away. It's really good. So yeah, that's Newport Station right there. So yeah, going in the tunnel with the maintenance machine. And yeah, some snags being done there the other week. Also been down a 7 tunnel, which is quite an experience. And yeah, training course as well. So I did my, as I said about the whole flexibility of it, did a bit of volunteered for some training courses that's related to this stuff. So electrical first aid, working at height, level C as well for substation access and egress. And then on the side of the main maintenance work, preparing some question set for an assurance engineer on the OLE extreme weather preparations. So basically some questions we can put to the EPME and the RAM to ensure that rather than them having to thoroughly read through the specs on the side of everything that they're doing, essentially just ask a few simple, well-written questions. It's quite an interesting process putting together questions that are so well-written that they're really clear, but also there's no way that you can accidentally answer it the wrong way or that your answer might fit into two different categories. Sprint project, so a few of us graduates were basically going around the region and asking a lot of experts in all these different disciplines what a lot of the issues are with inefficiencies and standards. Some of you may have been asked by some of us. So yeah, and we put together a big report and sent that over to the Director of Engineering Asset Management. And university engagement, so there's a push for getting more applications in for the graduate scheme, so our managers encouraged us to reach out to all the unis that we've come from and local universities. So last week I was in University South Wales doing presentations, talking about the grad scheme and bigging it up basically and talking about all the great opportunities you get in it. And yeah, there's just a big list of all the main training courses I've been doing, or that I have done throughout the grad scheme. So it's a great opportunity for building on your technical and non-technical knowledge. But the main part of this presentation going onwards is on the side of all that, a project I've been involved in and have really enjoyed, the Institution of Mechanical Engineering Railway Challenge. So what is it? Well, in short, a team of Network Rail graduates designing, testing, and building a miniature locomotive. So yeah, we've basically got technical specifications and rules for the competition itself. So we produce the documentation, we do the designs, the testing, the build of it, and competing it against other university companies and teams. So it's mostly university teams, but there are some companies that work alongside a lot of those university teams. So there's, TfL do it, Sheffield University, Huddersfield, a few other ones, and it's quite a really good opportunity to get involved in project-style work and kind of managing your own team. So here's some pictures. So it's a miniature railway in Stapleford, which is hired out by the IMechE during the summer, and leading up to that, we're essentially working on the build for that. So COLAS in rugby, they facilitate us, and it's a Network Rail and COLAS team, and we essentially, in that depot, go there, meet up every few months, and maybe have a week or so there, and work on the build and the designs, and got weekly meetings. So it's a really interesting project that we all kind of manage ourselves in a way. And here's a little video. Sadly, the audio wasn't working because we had a cool little horn on it that was beeping, but couldn't get the audio working. But that's basically a miniature scale, 1/5 scale locomotive. It's about 600 kilograms. So yeah, it's miniature, but it's not miniature, in that way. So what do I do? Well, this is my second year in it. I'm the electrical team lead this year, which is something early on in the first year I was really hoping to get, and I'm really happy to have that role, because there's the whole graduate scheme, the main purpose of it is to not just familiarize yourself with the business to then lead into a full-time role, but also for the professional development opportunities and working your way towards chartership, which is something that they really push for within the scheme. And this project's really great because there's a lot of hands-on opportunities across all areas of the attributes that the IET and, well, the Engineering Council in general and all the other institutions, a lot of attributes that this project covers. So I've had exposure to recruiting new graduates, keeping track of specification changes in this move to the 2023 competition, RC23. For the electrical team, I've been putting together work streams, identifying from previous conversations and current meetings, objectives for what we want to do this year, new tasks, work allocations, lots of meetings, other project management team, the other members of the project management team, the mechanical team, and our supervisor. So I've been involved in electrical systems drawings, putting those together. There's a lot of systems thinking behind the whole thing because there's 6 of us in the electrical team and 5 in the mechanical team, and obviously the last thing you want is one of your changes to mean that the other team can't do whatever they were going to do. So there's a big collaboration and systems thinking needed behind that. Safety requirements, compliance, safety assurance, exposure to risk management and putting together contingency plans, opportunities to actually manage purchases and budget and inventory, passing our knowledge to the new engineers within the team, and covering all that, essentially just leading by example. But the next slide, I didn't want to baffle everyone's brains with electrical systems drawings and exactly what we're doing with it, so I'm just going to put together this little illustration which kind of covers what we're doing with it. So in the middle we've got the PLC, the programmable logic controller, that's the brains of the system, and then that controls the auxiliary circuits, the horns, the lights, the brakes. We've got a traction circuit, the main power circuit, the handheld will control it, and then the red parts of that drawing, essentially the work streams I'm putting together for us to add this year, because last year we put ourselves in a really good position, and hopefully this year we can win it. So auxiliary systems, putting some new systems in, getting a new auto-stop system in. Auto-stop is essentially one of the competition challenges. A train goes over some line-side marker or Belize style thing, or TPWS style thing, where it will go over that point and then 25 meters later it will stop. The nearer you are to that 25 meters, the more points you get. Redesigning the handheld and the traction system completely, adding new braking commands and more monitoring in. But overall, just making a better system and managing that part of the team, and yeah, just having a fun time doing it. That's essentially the goal of the project. And I think that's it from me. Yeah, thanks for having me.